Welcome to this IELTS Listening Practice Test, brought to you by Spinta, your partner in English exam success. This test simulates the real IELTS listening experience with authentic question types, timing, and difficulty levels you'll encounter on exam day. You'll hear the audio only once, just like in the actual test, so stay focused and keep your pencil ready. Remember to read the questions carefully during the preparation time and transfer your answers accurately. This practice will help you build confidence, improve your listening skills, and familiarize yourself with the IELTS format.
Part 1. Now look at Part 1. You will hear a woman telephoning a gym to cancel her membership. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, Lifestyle Fitness. Leo speaking. How can I help you today?
Hello. I'm calling because I need to cancel my membership, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I can certainly help you with the process. Could I take your full name, please?
Yes, it's Penelope Freeman.
Freeman. Thank you, Penelope. And do you have your membership number handy?
One moment. Yes, I have it here. It's GX455B.
GX455B. Got it. I've just found you on our system. So, could you tell me the reason for canceling? Just for our records?
Of course. It's simply because I'm moving. I'm relocating for work, so I won't be in the area anymore.
I see. Well, good luck with the move. Now, our membership policy requires 1 month's notice. I can see your last payment was at the beginning of this month, so your last day of use would be the 31st of July.
The 31st of July. That's fine. Is there anything else I need to pay?
Let me just check. Yes, because you're leaving partway through a payment cycle, there's a small final payment of £25 due.
A final payment of £25. I see. And what's the next step?
We do require the cancellation request to be put in writing. You can just send us a quick email confirming you wish to cancel. I'll give you the address.
Okay, so it needs to be in writing. And what about my membership pass?
You'll just need to hand your membership card back to the reception desk on your last visit.
Return the card. Got it. And for the lockers, I have my own lock.
Oh, you don't need that here. Our lockers don't require a padlock. You just enter a 4-digit code of your own choosing.
Oh, that's clever. And just so I know, are there any closures planned?
Actually, yes. Good question. The whole center will be closed for the first week of August for repainting and deep cleaning, but you'll be gone by then. The decoration is well overdue.
Okay. And I can still use all the facilities until the end of the month? I particularly like the swimming pool.
Yes, absolutely. Your membership is fully active until your last day, so you can still use the swimming pool as much as you like.
That's great. Thank you for all your help.
Part 2. Now look at Part 2. You will hear a volunteer coordinator giving a briefing to a group of new volunteers for a city marathon. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning, everyone, and a massive thank you for volunteering for the City Marathon today. My name is Arthur, and I'm the volunteer coordinator. We genuinely could not run this event without you, so we are incredibly grateful. Before you head to your assigned positions, I need to run through some key information. Please take a look at the map in your packs. As you can see, the main event area is in the Central Park. The first thing you all need to do is go to the volunteer check-in, which is located in the large marquee right by the main entrance to the park. Now the race itself begins at the start line, which you can see is located directly in front of the main stage. Your team leader will give you your specific position along the route. About 1 kilometer from the start, you'll see our first water station. Water Station 1 is located just next to the information point. This will be a very busy spot. Now, a crucial location for all of us is the medical center. This is a large, clearly marked first aid tent, which you can see on the map situated behind the main food stalls. Finally, at the end of the route, runners will cross the finish line, which is positioned just in front of the baggage drop area. Now for a few important instructions. Your main role today is not just to hand out water. The most important thing you can do is to provide encouragement to the runners. A cheer and a smile can make a huge difference, especially later in the race. In your volunteer pack, you will find a map and a high-visibility vest, which you must wear at all times so that runners and officials can identify you easily. Please note that t-shirts are not provided. Safety is our #1 priority. If you see a runner who looks unwell or is in distress, do not attempt to help them yourself. Your duty is to radio your team leader immediately. They are in direct contact with the medical team and will coordinate a response. Now, about lunch. We will provide you with a food voucher when you check in. You can use this voucher at any of the designated food stalls in the main event area. And at the end of your shift, it is essential that you report back to your team leader to sign out. You must also return your radio and vest before you leave. This is so we can account for everyone and make sure all our equipment is back. Right, that's everything. Let's have a fantastic and safe day. Are there any questions?
Part 3. Now look at Part 3. You will hear 2 students, Isabella and Leo, discussing their presentation on the psychology of social media with their tutor, Dr. Wallace. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Okay, Isabella, Leo, thanks for sending through your presentation plan on the psychology of social media. It's a very timely topic. So, what was your biggest challenge when you started your research?
Definitely finding a specific focus. The topic is so huge, we had trouble narrowing it down from just, quote, social media to something we could actually cover in a 15-minute presentation.
A very common starting problem. So let's look at your plan. Your introduction. You've set the scene, but I'm not entirely sure what you're arguing. The argument is not clearly stated. You need a strong, focused thesis statement at the end of the intro.
A clearer argument. Okay, then, in our literature review, we've cited some key studies.
You have, but some of these are from nearly a decade ago. In a field that moves this fast, that's ancient history. More recent examples are needed here, from the last couple of years if possible.
We'll find some more recent papers. For our case study analysis, we've described how different platforms use different techniques.
Yes, but it's very descriptive. The analysis lacks critical depth. You're saying what asterisks they do, but you're not analyzing why asterisks they do it or what the psychological impact is. You need to be more evaluative.
more critical depth. Got it. Then we have our own small survey on student usage. We got 30 responses.
That's a good start, but you must acknowledge that a survey of 30 of your friends is not representative of the wider population. The data is not representative, so you must state that as a limitation of your study.
We'll add that. And finally, for our recommendations, we've suggested some ideas for how users can protect their mental health.
The ideas are good, but they're a bit idealistic. Things like, just spend less time online. The proposed solutions are not practical for many people. You need to suggest more realistic, smaller changes.
Okay. Isabella, what was the most interesting thing you learned? For me, it was the research on social comparison. I hadn't realized how powerful the subconscious process is, where we constantly compare our own lives to the curated, perfect lives we see online. The negative impact on self-esteem is quite shocking.
Indeed. And Leo, what about you?
I was fascinated by the persuasive design aspect. The way that apps are engineered, using principles from psychology to keep us scrolling. The use of intermittent rewards, for example, is just like a slot machine. It's all very subtle.
That's a great point to include. Now, one final piece of advice. Your presentation is very focused on the negative consequences. To make it more balanced, I suggest you add a discussion of the positive aspects of social media as well, such as community building and social support.
The positive aspects. That's a good idea. It will make it more balanced. So what's our immediate next step?
I think we need to go back to the drawing board and create a more focused project outline based on this feedback. We need to be absolutely clear on our new structure and argument before we do any more work.
The perfect next step. A solid outline is the key to success. Well done.
Part 4. Now look at Part 4. You will hear a lecture on the history and importance of cartography. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. In this series of lectures on human innovation, we're going to start with a technology that is so familiar we often take it for granted, the map. Cartography, which is the art and science of making maps, has been one of the most important intellectual pursuits in human history. So what is a map? At its most basic, a map is a symbolic representation of a place, highlighting relationships between different elements, such as objects, regions, and themes. It simplifies the world to make it understandable, but maps are never truly objective. The history of cartography is not just a history of technical skill, it's also an expression of philosophy and, very often, of power. The way a map is drawn, what is included and what is left out, tells us a great deal about the culture that produced it. The creation of any map involves a series of choices. The first is a process of selection. No map can show everything. Reality is too complex. The cartographer must choose what information is important for the map's purpose. One of the most fundamental choices is the scale of the map. This ratio of distance on the map to the corresponding distance on the ground determines the level of detail that can be shown. A large-scale map shows a small area in great detail, while a small-scale map shows a large area with less detail. Perhaps the greatest challenge for any cartographer is projection. This is the technical problem of how to represent our spherical Earth on a flat surface. Imagine trying to flatten an orange peel without tearing it. It's impossible. All map projections, therefore, must cause some form of distortion. They might preserve the correct shape of countries but distort their area, or preserve area but distort shape. There is no perfect solution. The famous Mercator projection, for example, preserves direction and shape, which made it the standard for maritime navigation for centuries. However, it massively exaggerates the size of landmasses nearer the poles, making Greenland look larger than Africa, which is not the case. The 20th century saw a complete transformation in map-making, driven by two key technologies: aerial photography and, later, the development of satellites. This allowed for a level of accuracy that was previously unimaginable. And today, we are in the midst of another revolution. Cartography has moved from a static, paper-based medium to one defined by interactive, digital maps. This allows for real-time updates, user-generated content, and layers of information that would be impossible to show on a printed map. But the fundamental principles of selection, scale, and projection remain as relevant as ever. Every map, no matter how technologically advanced, is still a curated view of the world.
And pencils down. You've survived another IELTS listening marathon. If your brain feels like it just ran a mental obstacle course, congratulations. That means you're doing it right. Want to torture yourself with more tests? We mean enhance your skills? Head to Spinta.org, that's Spinta.org, where we've got reading, writing, speaking practice, and vocabulary games that are actually fun. Yes, fun and IELTS in the same sentence. We're rebels like that. Thanks for listening with Spinta. Now go treat yourself to something nice. You've earned it. Spinta. Push forward. Achieve more.